The girl no longer yearns for love. The father and the husband whom she despised with hatred in her past life, in this life, seem to have gone mad trying to make amends. However, in the girl's heart, there is only a loyal servant whom she herself raised, whom he considers as his closest and holds in his palm. Bayona Rose Eliante is the feared queen of the living. Whenever she is dissatisfied, she gets angry. Beyonce, who just woke up, only asked for the maid's name and made her tremble with fear. The funny thing is that, being the only legitimate daughter of the Marquis, the maid attending to her was the lowest of the servants. The woman immediately knelt down to apologize. "I beg for my life." The nanny sent her. It is not clear why. Bianai let her out to drink water so his hiccups go away. If it continues like this, he will feel despised. The maid could not understand the young lady's sudden tenderness. She remained kneeling without moving until he uttered a threat. She immediately went out to call another maid. Lu Yong ran out of the room, heard other maids say that the nanny openly went to look for the countess today. The girl immediately prepared to leave, and if it were the old Biang, she would at least take it out on the maids, right? In her memory, the only one who cared for and looked after her was the nanny. That's why the firstborn couldn't stand it. The nanny put the Duchess at her level of intelligence. But why? Was all this just a childish farce? Upon arriving in the corridor, the maids looked at him like mice seeing a cat. He knew it would be like this. Since you know the desolate future, you should live with kindness and change the outcome. Regardless of the maid's opposition, he kicked the marchioness's door. Inside, 3 people were arguing heatedly. Suddenly, the atmosphere became silent. It turns out everyone was here. The Marquis plans to leave first. The lady curses him with sin. Hysterical screams. Now it appears that the marchioness's appearance is very similar to the agonizing Biona, who hates the world. The only daughter of Count Anning is 18 years old, and she became the wife of Marquis Ailante. As everyone knows, he pursued the Marquis for years, spending enormous sums of money for love. But the Marquis is a cold person. Not even gentle words, nor touch are welcome. Each time she yearns more for her husband's love and strives to have a child. It cannot be that being the daughter of an heir is meaningless. So he blames his daughter for everything. Bi-youngna smiled. What good would being a boy do? The Marquis doesn't care about this child. He's simply not interested in the lady. Surely, even explaining it to her in time, the mad marchioness could not understand. In the next second, he will extend his claws towards his daughter, constantly screaming for her to die. The nanny rushes to stop him, but she also gets involved. He runs towards Bianca no matter what. The girl steps aside and escapes first. Quickly closes the habitat door. In the next second, melodious screams are heard from inside the door. He ordered calmly and disdainfully, "Place the sword on the hilt. Do not let the lady out." The door shook harder. The sound of nails against the door was unknown. In my memories, the marchioness was not this crazy. Is it because of the Marquis? She adjusted her expression, made a smile. Everyone has worked hard, and then retreats as if she doesn't care. Since she got married, the lady has not been able to set foot in her husband's house, only because the Marquis gave the prohibition order. Even in the office, there are people in charge of watching. So how was he born? Bianga's appearance really resembles that of the marchioness, but it looks nothing like the Marquis. There is no golden hair in the family. Is Biana really the Marquis's daughter? Although the marchioness may not speak languages, should I ask him? As soon as that idea arose, he took action immediately. It doesn't matter if she's an enemy or not. Anyway, there's nothing to be afraid of in a life that has already failed once. There is nothing to fear. The guard asked for the origin. The girl said directly that she came to see her father. Move aside, and immediately, bang, open the door. The butler looked somewhat surprised. "Miss, she has arrived." The Marquis said nothing. His expression was grave and devoid of humanity. That cannot help but arouse curiosity. The marchioness, why did she fall in love with such a man? Approached her father's table, went straight to the point. "I am truly your biological daughter." The Marquis stopped. What does this mean? Isn't the girl staying behind either? Is this that important? Is it as important as her name indicates? "Go play somewhere else," Beyonce continued saying, "although it is not relevant to me. To reach the top, it is not an easy task." Want to be queen? Everyone was dumbfounded. He really regrets not closing the door earlier. Can I say that I want to be? What are you thinking about? The purity of blood can sometimes be a deadly weakness. When Beyonce became queen, She was often threatened in her position due to blood issues. The Marquis never mentioned this problem. This attitude has led to rumors growing. Therefore, the queen is isolated in her social circle. So now it is more important to clarify it. I am not so foolish as to cling to my weaknesses. I am not going to jump into the fire. So please, answer me. I am the biological daughter of the Marquis of Eliante. The Marquis frowned. This question does not even deserve an answer. Beyonce smiled. He understood, because he never doubted that she wasn't his daughter, so he didn't see it necessary to answer. He is a person who does not know how to express his emotions. It turns out that what had been tormenting him all this time was an illusion caused by his insecurity. If you want to talk nonsense, get out of here. Byung-na smiled contentedly. Without a doubt, she was that person's daughter. The robust Marquis was stunned. Perhaps his reaction was too strange. It turns out he is also a person with expressions. You asked me if I want to be empress, right? Among the single women of the empire, no one dreams of being queen, right? However, at first Beyonce also thought that just being queen would make her happy forever, like in a fairy tale. They wonder in their hearts if in past lives they were already an unhappy queen. Do they still want to reach that position? Do they want to follow life's script? What is it that she truly wants? The position of queen is not something that can be done at will. That position involves many complicated relationships. In other words, it is not a matter that she can avoid simply because she doesn't want to. Her father asks for her opinion. Is my opinion important? The Marquis was going to answer. Suddenly, a loud crash was heard outside. Both looked towards the direction of the sound. The butler entered in a panic and said, I am sorry. Madam, an accident has occurred at Mother's funeral. The immediate family arrived to see the spectacle. People were curious about how the Duchess had suddenly died. They even hoped. How did such a beautiful person dress? I so want to see the body. Among these people, how many are truly saddened by Mother's death? In your opinion? At that moment, his father approached him and placed the yellow flowers that he was holding on the gravestone. People were chattering. The coffin bag was not opened, which means the funeral rules were violated, insulting the blessing of the Lady Hao Yu with no other life. It seems the rumors are true. He is truly a cold and ruthless person. Sierre's words got into her ear. In her past life, Biana couldn't stand it and left the funeral furiously. The Marquise didn't care about him. Even if he leaves now, the result should be the same. However, now she can understand why the Marquis acted that way. Because the marchioness committed suicide. Without anyone noticing, she jumped out of the room's window. There are almost no funerals without exposed bodies. The only exception is if the deceased had a contagious disease, if the body was so mangled that it couldn't be born. The Marquis imposed a secret about the cause of the lady's death, which will not be made public. So, she also chose the same as her father, gently offering a yellow flower as a sign of respect for the marchioness, even if people doubt the slander, even if she has never been a mother to herself. At that moment, a person approached the tomb. A tall figure stopped beside the girl. Beyonce looked back. The person was her grandfather. He was also the marchioness's father, Count Anning, a great merchant. He, trembling, places the flowers on his daughter's grave. Then he strokes it sadly. The pain of the white-haired seeing off the black-haired. Seeing this scene is overwhelming. The grandfather gets up, but suddenly loses his balance and falls backward. The girl quickly reaches out her hand. Fortunately, another man catches him. How nice. No surprise. It seems he is his son. Upon leaving, the man looked back and glanced at her. Why do I feel like he's staring at me? Is it an illusion? The girl didn't remain silent and returned his gaze. I thought he would say something, but instead, he left directly. How embarrassing. He got angry over small things. Why does that face look so familiar to me? The marchioness's funeral lasted 3 days. Last day, the immediate family went to the cremation to say goodbye. Thinking about it, she also had a time when she yearned for affection. She tried to pretend to be a good person. If he looks a little like the Marquis, would father mind? But even if she asked, she wouldn't be able to hear the answer now, right? The lady is no longer here. The Marquis should now be highly sought after. Because his son only has a daughter who cannot inherit the family. But in the past life, until the moment he died, the Marquis did not remarry. Isn't the lady as hateful to the Marquis as he imagined? I wish it were so. Perhaps he was not hated by the person he loved. The father handed her the urn. Then he cuts off a lock of his own hair. This is the last consciousness that is placed in the direct serum of the hair. It has the meaning that the bond can continue even after death. It was supposed to be my grandfather's heir. Indeed, the impact of the first day was too great. In fact, a woman has arrived. It seems I didn't arrive too late. Because they are not immediate family, they cannot enter, so they are waiting here. She is the Countess of Jushang Anning. Legally, she is Bianna's grandmother. This is also the first time they have seen each other up close. The grandmother handed heir to the Marquis to put it in his mother's ashes. The two women paid no attention and left directly. "Go ahead," the grandmother called him, smiling. "You should go see him. Would you like to? He should be very eager to see the darkness. He wants to see himself. After the Countess went mad, isn't it that she didn't even come to the capital? Why does he want to see me?" The grandmother told her that love is that person's only blood tie. It wasn't long after her mother's death in the past life. The grandfather, unable to bear the blow, also passed away, leaving a large inheritance. But people suspected that the commoner-born lady had murdered the count for money. The nanny also scolded the countess all the time. Because of the young Bianna, she made a disguise that harmed the lady, which led to the countess miscarrying during the interrogation. But it was clearly her fault. He replied that he was no longer the only relative. The woman didn't understand if that was an insult towards her. His only flesh and blood was for the love of one person. Bianna pointed to the lady's parents. "Isn't that child blood of the count's house?" The woman, furious, "What nonsense are you saying?" Look at her reaction. Doesn't she know she's pregnant? Being so emotional is not good for the child. Believing or not, in my words, is the lady's freedom. But if you don't want to lose it, take good care of yourself. Since that's the case, you better tell the count, if it is the count's blood. The women argue that it's not the count, but your grandfather, and gets angry at how he calls him. "The way I call him is my freedom, countess." Now for me, family is no different from others. Perhaps the old Bianar longed for their attention. But living as Ligia, accepting the love of parents for the first time, only then does she realize that sharing blood doesn't mean being family. This is as far as it goes. With that said, she leaves. The woman keeps insisting with questions. You really don't want to see that person for love. But you received no answer. After the answer, the nanny feels sad for the young lady. But her mother's death did not affect him at all. When the marchioness was alive, he ate very well alone, lived very well. He listened impatiently to the nanny's words of comfort. A feeling of weariness washes over me. Just when I was about to sleep, my grandmother entered screaming. She insisted on seeing Bianna one more time. The nanny tried to stop her several times. With no other option, Bianna approached. "Let the nanny rest for a moment. We meet again. Countess, don't just stand there. Come in." The nanny tries to dissuade her. The girl asks coldly, "Do you know who you are talking to?" 8 years. She has been empress for at least half a year. If she wants to maintain her dignity as empress, she must have the power to dominate others. But for the nanny, it is the first time she has seen her like this. The nanny is very sad. "If you can't shut up, get out of here. You two, take her out." To the lady, "Don't just stand there, please sit down." Countess, the two sit facing each other. "Don't you have something to say?" It's a little different from what I've heard about love. It's because of the nanny of love. If I am to accuse him of the crime of insulting nobility, what should I do? And for love, the girl put down the teacup. "Being indirect doesn't suit your character. What is it that you want?" "Count, please. Meet with him." The girl didn't expect her to be so insistent, so she had to accept. The two pushed the door open and entered. "Child, you have arrived. Come a little closer." With this, it is confirmed that the countess is not. There is no murder of the count. And besides, it's not necessary. The count's eyes no longer hold any attachment to life. Are you all right? Does she have any valid reason? His relationship with the marchioness was no better than others. Before, Bianna still had hope in him. But now only pity remains between women. Were they ever too blind in love? And now it is possible not to do it again. I will keep repeating the same thing upon seeing him. At that moment, the grandfather hugged him tightly. "I'm sorry, I've been avoiding your pain." "I shouldn't have done that. It's all my fault." "So don't cry." "What are you saying?" "He is not crying." "Don't cry so sadly. You can't even make a sound, my son." After his mother's death, Beyoncé received an invitation from the palace. The nanny chose a sky blue dress for the young lady. She only looked at it and threw it on the floor. Sky blue used to be her favorite color, but now she dislikes it. Due to the influence of the past, she finds it difficult to control her emotions. She is already restless before seeing her. I can't imagine how she will be after seeing her. Will Biana fall in love with her again? Will she get lost like she did when they first met? She puts on an elegant green dress. In her past life, he also came to believe that it was the most beautiful in the world. But it wasn't until she met the one who was already known as the most beautiful woman in the empire. Her bright and clear sky blue hair, the beautiful jewels of the empire. The emperor sends invitations to the marquis, ostensibly to comfort the young lady who lost her mother. But everyone knows the real purpose. The emperor has thousands of beauties in his harem. He surpasses tens of thousands in children alone. Among them are 6 princes. The ones most likely to inherit the throne are only 2. Why was the great prince born of the empress the first? The 6th prince born of the empress? Although he was named crown prince at birth, the great prince is 16 years older than the crown prince and has the support of the noble power. The crown prince, who is at a disadvantage in every aspect, received the emperor's support and was the first choice. It is the house of Marquis Liant, which remains neutral. Biana fears meeting that man. She regrets having changed. Can she endure the mad love that Biana feels for him? At that moment, her father spoke, without expecting him to address her. Since she became the prince's consort and then empress, the marquise hasn't asked a single word. Why do you suddenly ask me what I think? It had never been like this before. My father only replied that it was your business. If you don't want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do you mean not wanting to be empress? It's not possible. The emperor's heart has surely already designated her as the future consort. For the current crown prince, there is no better option than her. It doesn't matter whether he wants it or not, Biana will end up becoming the crown princess. If I say I'm not interested in the queen's throne, could all this end? The marquis considers it difficult. He already knew, so why ask? Soon the carriage will arrive at the palace. The marquis reached out his hand to his daughter, although it was difficult. But it wasn't impossible either. Biana says she will respect his will. I really don't understand what you're thinking. The two entered the reception hall, greeting the son of the empire. The emperor looked very pleased. No wonder she is the marquise's daughter. She really looks very much like him. That smile surprised him. Back then, she couldn't even greet Biona properly. She only made His Majesty smile slightly. Come here. After he looked at his father, the marquis nodded. The girl approached His Majesty. How old are you? I will be 11 soon. Upon hearing this, His Majesty looked very pleased. It's perfect. He is clearly testing her, but I feel that His Majesty wants her more than in the previous life. At that moment, the chief of the guards announced, "The crown prince has come to see you." I will love him as I did then, to the point of self-destruction, or is it that I now feel indifferent? It doesn't matter if it's in the past or now, this face is still so perfect. Incoming Bianca Rosalie. Greet the little son of the empire. The crown prince nods. His Majesty asks him to also come to the front. After being together in the same take, they get even more excited. What a well-matched couple, right? Marquis, what do you think? They look like 2 birds of the same feather. Bianca is full of doubts. So from the beginning he was so brazen? Was that what they wanted? At that moment, I was distractedly looking at the crown prince. The marquis reminded me that it was time to go in, so let the young lady return. He still feels a bit reluctant. The flowers in the back garden of the Pisa Palace are in full bloom. Let the young lady go see how it is. Looking at them, the two were completely in cahoots. The crown prince. Before the marquis's affairs are finished, you must guide the young lady well. The crown prince extended his hand towards her. The woman's fingers joined and clasped. Miss Biagnese trembled nonstop. It doesn't matter if it was in the past or the present. The experiences are the same. If there is anything different to say, the tension back then was excitement. And now it is fear of what is about to change in me. The sky was clear and bright. The statue seemed to be joking. Suddenly, a strong wind rose. White petals danced and perfectly matched his silver hair. And so, like now, Beyoncé fell deeply in love. Shurius, Prince of the Princeton Empire, the future emperor. Even if she dies 1,000 times, she will remember him. After all, that is the person Biana would be willing to love with her life. Remembering it, it's not that he hated Biana from the beginning. The crown prince, educated since birth, knows better than anyone how to relate to others. He treated her with due courtesy, And she misinterpreted that courtesy as love, because Biana had never truly felt love. She couldn't distinguish between the two. Later she understood, by observing the prince's deep tenderness towards his lover, in comparison to his completely different treatment of others. If she had let go at that moment, the outcome would have changed. But Biana is unwilling to admit that she vented all her resentment on the person she loved. Perhaps from then on, Shiri began to feel disdain. However, the stubborn Biana still believes it's because of that woman. Shirley has changed, but now she understands. Before meeting him, she always looked at herself with contempt. The nanny excitedly told the young lady, "The palace has sent flowers again. It seems the prince likes the young lady very much." Upon hearing this, Nai put her hand to her head in pain. This gift cannot be so simple. The Reisha flower symbolizes the crown princess. The prince wouldn't send this flower. He probably doesn't even know. This flower is a warning from the emperor to the nobles, because he is in Leonte. Both the marquis and her grandfather's count have inheritance rights. For which noble is this? They are the ideal candidates for marriage. Women cannot continue the family. Her husband will inherit. However, the marquis's family should already have a designated heir. It seems he should appear at this time. I must thoroughly investigate who that person is. I am only obsessed with the prince. But fortunately, this encounter was calmer than I imagined. Ang Nalatia's heart beat strongly, thanks to Lija controlling it. But when she was distracted, she always thought of the crown prince. She decided to go for a walk. Upon arriving in the garden, everything was covered in weeds. It looked like it had been abandoned for a long time. There shouldn't be beasts, right? It's the bush behind me making noise. The girl turns around nervously. It won't be a bear. Anyway, this is a residential area. The most it could be is a cat or a rabbit. Let's check. He carefully pulls aside the thorny vines. Only a blue head is visible. Is it a cat trapped inside? Should I help it? Having compassion for animals is really a problem. So without worrying about the thorns, she pulled the kitten out. In the next second, however, she threw it headfirst. Upon seeing the little one's appearance, the girl's eyes widened. It's not a kitten or a puppy. It's a child. Bianca approached and looked at him closely. The nervous child didn't know what to do. She stared at him without moving. Suddenly, she stroked the child's soft little face. "Oh, it's quite squishy," the maid's voice was heard from afar. "Where has that guy hidden himself?" Upon seeing the young lady's figure, Bianca got up and asked what was wrong. "Don't make me ask a second time, now that the marchioness has passed away. I am the owner of this house. This garden is also mine now. You entered my place without permission. Aren't you going to answer? Are you ignoring me? You should apologize immediately. Actually, there's no need to ask to know. They came here for this child." Bianca raised a leg to cover the child. "It's too noisy. Leave. I'll tell the nanny about this. Prepare to be criticized." After taking them away, Biona looked at the child and wondered what to do with you. Rante Buren Leont. The Marquis brought Rante home after the lady's death, but it was a long time before Biana found out about this. Anyone who saw him, everyone can see it immediately. He looks very much like the Marquis. That's why Biana hates him. Until she entered the palace as the crown princess, she was always tormenting Lante. You are always looking for trouble. There was never anyone to stop him. On the contrary, someone ahead to harass Lante, to show off, silently enduring the malice. Facing the blows, he doesn't say a word. In that gaze, Beyoncé saw the shadow of her father. He diverted the anger he couldn't express at the Marquis, cowardly, on Rant. Even the Marquis, who could stop it, didn't react at all. Rand could only endure those moments of unbearable pain. Now that I think about it, it's strange. Rand is the only heir to the Eliante family, although the Marquis never mentioned it. But there's no one else who can inherit besides him. It is said that the Marquis's brother passed away a long time ago, so he should acknowledge that Ante is his son and stop her behavior. However, the Marquis only placed Lante in a secluded place, so that he would learn the necessary knowledge as a noble. In this life, he wants to raise him. She decided to take him for treatment first. "Come on, Lante." He looked at her with bright eyes. Carefully, she took his hand. Thinking about it, Rand is about 4 years younger than him. But who could imagine that such a small ram would be taller than the Marquis in the future? At that moment, the maids returned. We have to find him quickly. If the young lady finds out, the situation will be more serious. "You damn brat, if I catch you, I won't bother you for what happened in this house." That he didn't know? To clarify what is happening, she went to her father's office and took Rant directly to the door. Where did the butler go? The father asks what happened. Cut wounds can be seen on his small hands. His cheek looks a little swollen. Who hit you? The Marquis's gaze makes Bianca uncomfortable, she confesses embarrassedly. Actually, his own soft feeling is quite interesting, so I pulled him a bit. I didn't think it would turn out like this. It seems the child's skin is very fragile. The butler will have to work hard. After the treatment, bring me some cake to my room. With that said, she turned back to Rante and said, of course you have to come too. Looking at the delicious desserts in front of him, Lant feels moved and stunned. Quick, try it after receiving permission. Lant can't wait and gets to it. He shoves it into his mouth in large bites. Whispers are heard behind him about how rude he is. He is a child who shouldn't be in sight. Lant stops. With a trembling movement, he listens to the comments of the people around him. Beyoncé saw it, although she doesn't mind being bothered, but it can't be with others. So she ordered everyone to leave. The maid replied with a yes. You've increased the number of times you answer me. Do I need to kick you out myself? After kicking them out, he just sighed. Lant couldn't help but tremble. When did this reaction to being mistreated begin? It's so difficult. She never thought of establishing a deep relationship with anyone. Even if she left a child by her side, there would be no change in the future, right? Do you want me to help you? If you are willing, will you treat me like a pet? Lant blushed. Then he nodded. The girl told him that if he made a mistake, he would have to be punished. Doing whatever he wants is wrong. Lant choked on his words. The scolding words hurt. Bianca didn't know what to say for a moment. Rand's hurt heart gave her comfort. Yes, if you don't like me, then don't insult me. But he secretly decided that sooner or later, he would take care of them. First, I have to prepare my puppy. Take out all of Yuji's things. Here, for the first time, he had something that belonged to him. Soon she would meet with the Marquis. Seeing the Marquis, he looked like a block of ice. Biangnai decided that in this life, she would never let the former become what he is. I need the best teacher in all fields. The Marquis asked her the reason for that. I want to educate him. Upon hearing this, Lante remained thinking about what the man was saying. As his name suggests, sure, please dismiss all my teachers. Anyway, it's knowledge I already know. I trust you will accept my request. Then I'll leave first. But, the father asks, without understanding, why do you care about that child? Bianca didn't give many explanations. She only said, he is mine. I can't stand my puppy being bullied, so I want to adopt him. He just needs to cooperate so that Lant inherits the title of Marquis. He must at least invest without sparing any expense, even though he is just a cute puppy now. In the future, he will become a powerful beast that no one can look down on. The Eliante family will become beasts. I am eager for the day the puppies grow up. Upon opening the door, I discovered that the maid was listening. Her behavior and actions revealed a strange tension. Following Bianca's instructions, Lance's room was moved to this building because the nanny got involved. It's very far from her room. Anyway, it's in the same building, so I decided to endure a little longer, but I'm so worried I can't sleep. It's early morning now. I'm going to check if her puppy is sleeping peacefully. Passing by the nanny's room, I noticed she wasn't there. Beyonce realized that something was wrong. She quickly ran towards Rand's room. Do you still want to sleep? I don't know where this illegitimate child came from. Never think of entering this house. Why do you have to come and bother our young lady? Bianca kicked the door. Are you crazy? I didn't know the nanny would do something like this. You've messed with the wrong person, Bianca shouted at the butler. When the butler arrived hastily, he protected Rant behind him and claimed that he had witnessed the abuse of Rant. Now everyone here is the aggressor. The nanny explained, you can't treat me like this. Madam, why does this have to happen? It's because of him, this illegitimate child. He warned the nanny to behave herself. At that moment, the Marquis also appeared behind. After that night, the nanny was punished and imprisoned. Out of affection for having raised the young lady, Biona interceded with the Marquis. Finally, after dismissing the nanny, nurse, he reassigned a trusted maid. Rand looks at him carefully. What's wrong, my puppy? He lowers his head, feeling guilty and not daring to look up. Is it because of me that you feel so bad? Bianca has a face full of questions. Don't think nonsense. But that's what those people say. They say that by coming here, miss, you would feel very sad. Bianca told him that she wouldn't pay attention to such nonsense. You are my puppy. You only need to remember one thing. Sister is heaven. Shortly after, at the coming-of-age ceremony, the engagement with the crown prince took place. Due to his young age, the great prince expressed his opposition, so the wedding has not yet been held. From this, Bianca realized that on her 16th birthday she would become the crown princess. Unknowingly, 4 years passed. In 3 months will be the day of her wedding with the crown prince. I need to think of a strategy. He has a bad face. Shiri, worried, reached out her hand to see what was happening. Do you feel unwell? He was surprised for a moment, then he immediately looked away. This person was already very kind to everyone. Don't get your hopes up. Shiri immediately got up, saying she was going to call the court physician. Bianca quickly stopped her, saying that there was no problem. It was just a slight temporary dizziness. Is there really no problem? Yes, I worried you, Your Highness. The atmosphere between the two became awkward. No matter how many times they meet, it always causes her pressure. The Emperor believes that if they see each other 2 or 3 times a week, the relationship will improve. But the problem is not with him. However, it's a little different than before. If it had been in the past, she would surely have felt annoyed. Now it seems that at least he cares, and that if not, anyway, she has no intention of marrying that person. We've been engaged for 2.5 years now. The crown prince quickly perceived it. Have I done something wrong? Beyoncé denied it. Your Highness has always treated me as his fiancé, with courtesy. No, please tell me, have I done something wrong? Does he find it uncomfortable to be with me? Answer me. Bianca, did it make you uncomfortable? Bianca hesitates for a moment. If I say it makes me uncomfortable, do we not need to continue with this meeting? The crown prince smiled with disbelief and pain. I am your fiancé. The engagement can be annulled, Your Highness. Do you know what that means? I know very well. You are thinking of annulling our engagement. Yes, Your Highness. Why? Because I do not love Your Highness. Shirley was stunned. Then she burst out laughing. I didn't expect you to be so interesting and also frightening. Biao told him that this was not a joke. Speaking of love, I really don't know if you are naive or stupid. Among the Wang or the nobility, very few marry for love. Marriage is a means to consolidate mutual interests. But if the end is tragic, is it really necessary to follow that path? Life is short. She doesn't want to waste her time in vain. My dream is to spend my whole life with my lover. The happiness that Bianca doesn't have. But he, Li Zia, must definitely obtain his own happiness. The person by his side doesn't necessarily have to be my father. If there are young ladies with better conditions, wouldn't that be better for him? It seems there is a misunderstanding. There is no one with better conditions than you. Equals. Bianca only said that she was breaking off the engagement, but that made the crown prince, who had been obedient as a dog for 4 years, go mad. Suddenly, he became dark and wild. It couldn't be anyone else. The Yangmin, seen as prey, immediately threw herself into loyal dog's arms. In the face of her repeated rejection, the crown prince remained stubborn. There is no one with better conditions than you, Bianca. Upon hearing this, she secretly decided that she must do everything possible to stop this marriage. If you wish, I can help you find a suitable young lady. Shiri was not satisfied, even if there is someone with better conditions, and so we have already held the engagement ceremony. You are officially my fiancé. Of course, there are simpler and more relaxed ways. Love me. At the moment when Bianca's lips were about to touch, Bianca raised her hand and moved it, but the man grabbed her wrist. When the prey escapes, the hunter's instinct is to pursue it. I am quite a skilled hunter, so you better not provoke me. Where is my Bion? The girl is desperate in the cart. He realizes the problem. Sharia has not yet found that woman. So now he needs his own interpretation. But his reaction was a little unexpected. He didn't get angry or show disinterest. Like a fierce beast focused on its prey, he really should receive a slap in the face and kick his lineage into extinction. If you go with the flow, until they fall in love, let yourself be carried away by him. Go find the life that belongs to you, find the loved one, and enjoy old age. But he says something about prey. Do you think only hunters hunt? Prepare to be hunted by the prey. Just moved into the mansion, Bianca went to the training grounds to see Lante, seeing that her brother had arrived. The eyes in front immediately brightened, shouting that his sister was coming towards him. How did you get to the training grounds? Biona pinched his cheek. Didn't I tell you not to call me sister? Are you the kept man behind the rich? Happy Lante squeezed his sister's hand. Sister's words are the truth? I haven't forgotten. He rubbed his palm. You don't seem to be in a good mood. Did something happen at the palace? The girl replied that she was bitten by a rabid dog. The naive Lant worried and asked if she was hurt. Biana looked at him silently, and then, suddenly, she hugged the boy's waist, which left Rant not knowing what to do. With the smell of sweat, Beyoncé shook her head. It just smells like warm sun. At that moment, the butler came running. Something serious has happened. According to Count Shang Anning, the situation is critical. The grandfather who left 4 years ago quickly returned. He bought a house near the Marquis's house and often accompanied Biana. It seems he wanted to make up for the time he had neglected her. But his health was getting weaker and weaker. Biana and her father arrived here hastily. At the entrance was a small figure, a girl with fuchsia hair. She was her grandfather's daughter. She wants to enter her father's room. Biana picked up the girl. I can't let her see her grandfather like this. At that moment, the door opened. Nice to meet you, miss. I am Aiden Anning. Biana recognized him immediately. She is the Count's heir. No one knows which country she comes from. Family members opposed her inheritance right, but in the end, she inherited the title of Count. And from then on, the Count's house lived its golden age. Many high society ladies went crazy for the luxuries the Count sold. It is said that he even sold products for women. I didn't expect him to have that image, more than just a merchant. He is nothing more than a gentleman. Ellie cheerfully shouted Aiden's name. The man lifted the girl into his arms. You've left the nanny again. I miss Papa. The man told her that Papa doesn't feel well. We'll see each other later. When? When she eats well and sleeps well and grows beautiful. Alan stepped away from the door and gestured for them to enter. Upon seeing Beyoncé's figure, the grandfather raised his hand with difficulty. It wasn't the first time he had asked for others to be taken away. She had already gone through it many times when she was still Lysia. But why is it still so difficult to endure this moment? Thank you. May you always be happy, my child. The grandfather repeated again and again, be happy, and then closed his eyes forever. The hand that was on his granddaughter also fell. Grandmother Biana couldn't accept it at that moment. To the Countess, the suffering patient husband, please wake up soon. He collapsed, crying and screaming in front of his husband's bed. His grandmother's kind and warm love gradually destroyed the high walls she had built in her heart. He already knew that his grandfather didn't have much time left. Instead, he lived 4 more years. He had always been preparing for death, but his father, worried about whether he was all right, the girl turned around slowly. The tears could no longer be stopped. She threw herself into the arms of her father, the Marquis. He hugged her to comfort her. He would stay until her tears stopped. The strange action of the Marquis surprised her at the family meeting. Biana didn't expect things to get so bad. They don't want to admit that Evan inherited the position of Ellie's tutor. In the core of the Count family's consortium, they made the lady evaluate. If she can allow a stranger with no blood ties to be Ellie's tutor, is it possible? The lady says she trusts him, but that causes more discontent. It's that they trust strangers more than us. Their family? Accepting a woman we know nothing about is a mistake. Accepting a woman we don't know where she comes from, is that a mistake in itself? It cannot be said whether the will is genuine. When Biana dropped the water cup, I think I went deaf. Could you repeat that, please? Are you saying my grandmother had an affair? So, can I consider this an offense towards me? The man is terrified, pleading on the floor, agonizing. The person who should apologize is not me, right? What is implied is that he should apologize to the Countess. But the man is unwilling to do so. She is just a vulgar woman who casually married a noble. But the marchioness is about to become the crown prince's wife? Another vassal intervenes to advocate. It is natural for young people to make mistakes. It's truly ridiculous. The older man rises to reprimand. Since you are young, I have already been tolerant enough. This place is not for a child who hasn't even had his coming-of-age ceremony. The place to intervene. He immediately asked, what is your name? Chris Sloft, upon hearing this, laughed even harder, a surname she had never heard. I thought at least you had inherited the family name. Turns out you are nothing, and here you are, meddling in what doesn't concern you. The man shouted, young lady! There is no doubt. I am a lady. Unlike you, I am a true noble heiress, without formalities, without a middle name. Tell me, why should I respect you like an elder of the family? I advise you to stop. Don't make me angry. No one in the room dared to reply, until a reckless young man said that the young lady also did not inherit the family name. Biana bowed her head in respect. He doesn't understand even the basics of nobility, and dares to call himself part of a count's house. To whom does that responsibility belong? Biana Rosa Eliante? The second name, is the name of the Count family's ancestor. I thought the right to my name would expel them from the family. By the way, there is also the charge of impersonating nobility, after my grandmother's funeral. A week later, the time for her meeting with the crown prince arrived, but it wasn't the way to the Pizad Palace. Instead, it led to the emperor's chamber. Seeing the girl, His Majesty joyfully asked her to come closer. There's no need to be so formal. The crown prince offered her a chair and affectionately called Anna to come over. What is the real motive behind this unusual behavior? The man approached and praised that today she was also very beautiful. My brother has such a deep expression, it seems he does it on purpose. The emperor smiles from ear to ear. It's truly a delight for the eyes. I've heard you've been working hard lately. His Majesty continues to speak so formally. Shirley explained, Isn't that precisely Anna's charm? Please forgive me, Father Emperor. Do you need me to tell you, Biana? I am very disappointed in you. When will you be able to relax a little with me? After all, we will soon be family. You are 16 years old, right? Biana replies yes. It turns out the crown prince brought her for this. The opening the crown prince is waiting for. 3 months before the coming-of-age ceremony, it's time to start preparing. Biana realizes something is wrong. If it continues like this, her coming-of-age ceremony will become the crown prince's wedding. This annuls the engagement. He no longer pretends to be foolish. He shows his craziest side for the first time. And surprisingly, her fiancé, who has always ignored him, feels increasingly fascinated by he will not give up until he marries her. The old emperor is pushing them to marry soon, but he never imagined that the girl would play dirty. He doesn't plan to hold the coming-of-age ceremony. The old man was left with wide eyes of fright. This is the only ceremony in the lives of the empire's subjects. It only happens once. Biana is sad and worried. Her grandfather passed away less than 10 days ago. Madame Chen cannot organize the celebration. The emperor does not allow it, and that is her first appearance in high society. If you speak English, I can immediately organize a debut party for you. Biana repeatedly refuses. Thank you, Your Majesty. But at this moment, it is really difficult to organize. The old man is going to lose it, shouting uncontrollably, because the two little Beckhams are not talking. He gestures to recover his image. Either way, you have to debut in the social world. However, he was still rejected by Beyoncé. And how long do we have to wait? Next year, seeing the emperor so frustrated, it's the first time Shiri has seen him like this. Her uncontrollable laughter. What are you laughing at, disobedient son? Forgive me, father, but Beyoncé's words are not without reason. Which side are you really on? Of course. I am on my fiancé's side. While building, he also looked at her tenderly. Majesty, don't you find Beyoncé's devotion moving? I beg you to understand her situation. The emperor had to give in during his time outside the palace. The crown prince always followed him. Biana felt very uncomfortable. Where is your highness going? Accompanying the fiancé outside the palace is the fiancé's duty. It's the first time I've seen that. Suddenly, Shiri approached her forehead. You even use the messenger as a shield. I really underestimated you, Biana. Not only are you skilled in using His Majesty as a tool, seeing Biana so reluctant, Shiri, on the contrary, laughs heartily. It really is as if she is in a trap. It's the first time I've seen the prince smile so happily. But the more the man laughs, the more she feels she has lost. It's better to stay away from this madman. The crown prince suddenly grabbed her arm. He easily leaned close to her ear to make contact. I've warned you not to bother me, my Anna. Biana rejected that nickname. I have never allowed His Highness to use affectionate names. I didn't expect to be rejected by my fiancé. She really wanted to punch him at that moment, but it was not appropriate to act in front of so many gazes. She warned him that, being engaged, they had to follow the rules of courtesy. Sometimes, the prey can also bite the hunter. With that said, she stepped hard on his foot. Too bad she wasn't wearing heels. Otherwise, she would have crushed his foot. It is truly a worrying existence. Biana's words have tormented me to this day. He left a kiss on her forehead. After leaving the palace, Biana ordered the maid to go to Bifu. Her mind was completely confused. What does the prince really want? Does he really want to fall in love with me? She had clearly succeeded in the counterattack. His reaction doesn't look like that of a loser. Rather, he seems to enjoy it. Where did things start to go wrong? At that moment, the lady-in-waiting reminded the emperor of the dress he had received. Upon getting out of the carriage, she was knocked down by a boy coming head-on. The red paint stained the entire hem of the dress. The maid was about to scold, but was stopped by Beyoncé. She almost became one of those third-rate villains from comics, showing off nobility. How ridiculous it looks to boast like that. At that moment, Alan arrived hastily, calling Lai's name. Upon seeing Biana, he was stunned. Lai was on his knees. He was apologizing. Before the leader man, "Long time no see, Evan. There are many people watching. First, change your clothes." So Beyoncé was taken to the 3rd floor of the jewelry store. In her past life, even as queen, she didn't know there were 3 floors here. Val asked her to wait again. The decoration around her always gave her a sense of incongruity. This store is called Louis Yasha, aimed at the noble women's market, with "one of a kind" as its motto. It accurately targeted the lady's pride. Its products emphasize exclusivity. Exclusivity means prestige. One has to admire Evan's business mind. Without careful analysis of female psychology, this idea could not have emerged. Could it be that behind the gentleman's appearance hides a delicate mind? It was Miss Wei who chose 3 luxurious dresses. Bianca thought they were too extravagant. Finally, she changed into an elegant yellow dress. She didn't imagine that back then, Bianca, in her vanity, spent a fortune, all thanks to her annual access to the palace and her private properties, even though she inherits a large fortune from her mother and grandfather, but that is not enough to maintain her luxury. However, money didn't seem to notice her seclusion. Lack of funds. As if her estate were an inexhaustible source of power. Where does that enormous wealth really come from? At that moment, Avon entered with Lai and apologized. It wasn't that big of a deal that her clothes got dirty, but it can't be dismissed with a laugh. This child's reckless behavior could affect the reputation of the Count's house. He clearly saw at that moment that Avon's face was full of worry when he was addressing the child. For the general manager of the store, "This child is so important to such an extent, just with the same hair color as that woman. Does true love also have the same color? Laugh for a lifetime. How should I get rid of you?" And then she let out a laugh. With a playful expression said, "Should I kill this child?" The child got scared and trembled all over. Even also became nervous. "Even if I kill you here, no one will be able to stop me, not even the man you trust. That is your mistake." He accidentally discovered that he had been a man of the same age. This child's eyes, Avon quickly extended his hand and grabbed Biana, but his face was full of worry and pleading. "It seems you have a lot to say." The boy grabs the edge of her dress. "I'm sorry, it's all my fault. The leader did nothing wrong." Beyoncé reached out and stroked his head. He doesn't know who he is. Inayari is a tribal country in the west of the empire. They live in the desert. They have human physical characteristics, pupils like a cat's. If he is excited or his feelings fluctuate, his pupils contract vertically. The children's eyes have this characteristic, but they are not pure snow, unlike the unique skin tone in the desert. The problem is that the Empire rejects half-breeds even more than in Nayarit, you know? Just for once you were careless, you have put the people around you in danger. If you don't want your surroundings to become dangerous, please, stay alert at all times. Now he is crying. Do you feel wronged? Just for dirtying a piece of clothing they treat you like this? If you feel wronged and resentful, you should cultivate your strength, so that no one treats you lightly. Even if they know who you are, they won't dare to move a hair. If you cannot achieve it, then live your whole life in the dark, because that can prolong your mootsak. The only way to save the lives of the people around you is to order the maid to take the child outside. First, let's hear your story. Ask me after your disrespect towards me. Aiden sincerely apologizes for this. To be honest, he doesn't know where to begin. As a merchant, he should use words to confuse his opponent, not the man belittles himself. The Count also says he doesn't look like a merchant. He looks more like a writer. The grandfather knows his character very well. Still, he left him in charge of the company. What does he really see in him? You look very much like the Count. I felt it from the first time I saw you. Biana feels confused. What does that look mean? She doesn't like Aiden defending him unconditionally. That's why she spoke harshly to the child. But why? He still looks at her with that deep gaze. It's really disconcerting. It makes no sense. Actually, Aiden understands. Biana has good intentions towards Lai. Due to the Naya blood mix, the trading group must be more careful. Isn't that a warning, miss, for the child and for me too? Since you know it, you won't take any action. Are you going to let him cause trouble everywhere? After listening, Aben couldn't hide his emotion. Indeed, my intuition was not wrong. The young lady looks very much like the Count. The Count also reprimanded us severely. I am an orphan. He is like me, fighting like crazy. For life. If it weren't for his grace, I wouldn't be alive now. El has also saved many children from prison, including Count Lai, who knows the origin of that child. So why does it still feel like a form of redemption? Will the one who asks this question do it? It seems he already has the answer in his heart. The grandfather saves abandoned children in places where they cannot see. All his life, he has been redeeming himself before his daughter and granddaughter. There are many such children. Most work in something related to trade. So the reason why the grandfather left the business to Evan, perhaps, is that he needs someone who can share and keep secrets. But there is one question that has not yet been resolved. Is Evan really the true owner of this business? Although he seems like a stable and reliable person, he doesn't look at all like someone who founds. Lois Jarza. Could there be another person behind this? At that moment, someone knocked on the door. Evan opened the door. He met his grandmother at the door. How did she get here? You don't understand what love is. But grandfather gave his entire life and gave all his love until the 4th year after grandfather left. Beyonce finally understood how deep that love was, but there is no way to recover it now. Many years ago, grandfather traveled the world, saving countless children with special talents, and made a pact with them to protect Vianmin with the rest of their lives. And today, grandmother has decided to reveal this truth. She sat on the sofa next to Evan, and seeing him, the girl finally understood the name of the store. Louis is the nickname he uses for his grandfather. Asha is the nickname grandfather uses for Anasha. The true owner of Louisa is... It's ridiculous to realize this now. Anasha lowered her head. She handed over what her grandfather left her. Is more suitable for Bian than me. So you are acting like this to deceive grandfather and obtain the trading group. Even if we deceive them, it's no big deal. Grandfather passed away peacefully under your care. I didn't lose anything in the process. This is something your mother used when she was little. I don't need it. Don't you recognize yet that she is your mother? Don't meddle in what doesn't concern you. Anasha, I have said what I have kept in my heart for a long time. Biana, I hate you. And that... What? Amansha? What are you waiting for? What is the point of this? I really want to go home and lie in bed. If you wish, you can have it all. Why do you keep showing that expression? Shouldn't he be the one shouting now? So what do you mean? You don't ask me why I'm here. It's necessary to ask. That's why I hate you. As if you know everything. Indifferent to the people around you. How do you see your place in the social world? You don't seem interested either. Anyway. It's not a hostile look. It's necessary to worry. Just thinking about what I want to do is not enough. Worry about what others think. Living according to others' standards is exhausting. I have already lived ordinarily by doing what is expected. There is no need to do the same again. Do you know how much your grandfather cares about you? You worry that living your way will make him doubt. I can't guess what he thinks, although during this time, I have been living according to my own desire. If I look at it objectively, I have been quite obedient. I have only spent time at home with Lante. Anasha sighs with resignation. Why do you admit Ellie's inheritance, right? You also know that she has a disability. According to the principles, the inheritance right would be annulled. But if you oppose in the name of the ancestor, it would be a will impossible to fulfill. There is no need to strip him of the title. Bianca, you have no ambition. How could I not have it? If he wasn't a wise man, who wouldn't be greedy? So why don't you want a noble title? You can have both the title of Count and Marquis. It seems you have forgotten that I am the Crown Prince's fiancé. Are you referring to not wanting to hold the coming-of-age ceremony and delaying? Is that it? Only the Emperor and the Crown Prince know about this matter. How did you find out? There's no need to be so nervous. That's not the important thing. But it is important to me. Because of that phrase from before, there is no difference between having your eyes and ears around me. Bi Yang, it's not that I'm watching you. It's just that there are many eyes and ears in the palace. I only have a connection with one of them. I swear that the Bill Yang's ability to raise his eyebrows is quite good. To manage such a large company, this is indispensable. Lastly, I have a question. Why do you desire nothing? It's not just about the most delicious things, you also care about people and things. You care about nothing. What do family members really mean to you? Family has no special meaning. Anisa cries looking at you, as if she were going to leave at any moment. Do you know how much that worries those around you? I don't like receiving all your attention and love and still being indifferent. I hate you. I don't want to know everything he has done for you. Still, you who look like him are still adorable. I hate you, and I also thank you for taking care of Ailing." At this moment, Bianca has finally eliminated her jealousy from her heart. Anissa approaches the Count, not to plunder his goods, but to accompany him until his last moment, because she truly loves him, grandfather, etc. So what is the relationship between these two people? Evan speaks. Anissa is also one of the people redeemed by the Count. He is our benefactor. It's like finding a light in the abyss of despair. We live miserably and painfully, you know? The reason he saved us all is because of you. The Count has traveled all over the world, summoning children with special talents, especially Anissa. Her work capacity is astonishing. Only by seeing him can. The Kondo offer unconditional support, and all this is for his true master. It's not me either, it's Anissa, but you, Miss Bianca. She doesn't understand why he is telling her this now. And Asha says she cannot protect her completely. We need to hide her. You are the Crown Prince's fiancé. The forces against the Crown Prince are dangerous. If you stay with the property, they will want to get rid of you right now. Fiona was reflecting. Anna from the past life. Why didn't he tell her this fact? What is the difference between then and now? He said that I monopolized our grandfather's attention. That's why he hates himself. He also said that he looks like him and loves him very much. In the end, he said, "Thank you for protecting Ellie, who is not yet born." It turns out that at that time, he didn't tell Bianca. It was to avenge the child who had died, but still, to thank my grandfather's kindness, I will do everything I can to help. With inexhaustible wealth like a horn of plenty. It is also what the Chamber of Commerce says. Durit. At that moment, Evan knelt down and swore by his soul, "I will always be loyal to my master." Soon the day to attack again arrived. Beyonce looks at the ring on her hand. The Count holds an eagle with a shield as the family symbol. All other stores have used it. Only Louis Aisha used the 4-leaf clover. The family symbol will be used as a seal. Nobles have their own seal. After holding the coming-of-age ceremony, he became the Crown Prince. At his coming-of-age ceremony at 16, the Crown Princess's seal is her seal. But this ring was specially made by her grandfather for her coming-of-age ceremony. Everything began to be prepared from her birth for the dangers and happiness that might occur in the future, to discover and educate those who can help. Anissa and Evan are the representatives of these people. To prevent any eventuality, it was decided that Evan would sit in the place of the trading group. In the future, I will be your assistant. Evan is your will. The reason I became your wife is also because it is easy to see you. When you mentioned the children for the first time, I thought you were insulting me, because I have only been with him once. I will live my whole life for Beyonce, so I only ask her to embrace me once. Although it is something very brazen and shameful, but at least I gathered courage, because I had that child. His only request for us is to protect you. We will do anything to fulfill this phrase. Grandfather has been very affectionate and warm for more than 4 years. Perhaps in past lives they also prepared so many things for him. Beyonce's heart is full of mixed emotions. She understood her grandfather's love too late. That love only realizes its weight when it is already irreversible, and one realizes its gravity. This is a message from the palace to pick you up. The person who comes is a servant from the Sabella Palace, belonging to the Queen's Palace. The Crown Prince has left, therefore, Her Highness the Queen has sent this servant to pick you up. Bianca was thinking of returning by the same route, but she was stopped. Her Highness the Queen is waiting for you. Bianca could not refuse, even though she was the puppet queen. But the people behind him were not ordinary. Soon she was taken to the Queen's palace. Upon entering the door, she saw the Queen with a wandering gaze, and the Grand Princess, with eyes as sharp as venomous snakes. Bianca bowed to greet. Greetings to the moon of the empire. Pay homage to the Empress. Welcome for love. The Queen signals her to hurry. The Empress, feigning affection, says she must be summoned. For love she cannot decide, so she asked me to come with her. May I accompany you? Beyonce realized that her intentions were not pure. She is not calling the Queen, but the great wasp that manipulates the Queen. What she says is quite obvious. Your Highness, how should the Queen summon her servant? The Queen looked at the consort with disgrace. Could there be any special reason? The Queen has no companions of her age in the palace, so she feels very lonely. It would be great if love could often accompany the Queen. Don't you think so? The Queen quickly nodded. As if Bianca understood her well, she no longer acted well. Listening to the consort's tone, it seems she normally sees the queen as beneath her. The two mentioned her grandfather. That thing was quite noisy. I've heard he abandoned his family for love, whether back then or now. The grand consort has always been consistent. With that smile, she says poisonous things. Imperial consort, you seem very interested in my family affairs. Of course, it could be that we are family. Yes, we will soon be family. It is natural for us to take care of each other. The Grand Princess is the eldest daughter of the Mourning counts. Although she was already engaged at that time, she offered to marry the Emperor, seized the opportunity to give birth to the Emperor's first son, and took the place of the Grand Empress. She even brought her family, the Mortons. The Count was promoted to Marquis before the birth of the sixth prince. The eldest prince was still temporarily considered the heir to the throne. The imperial consort also had rights only below those of the Empress. Until the day of the sixth prince's birth, her world was ruined. For them, mother and son, the heir to the throne was a thorn in their side, so in the eyes of the Grand Princess. Iana is also a thorn in her side, but this has nothing to do with not wanting to marry. She simply doesn't want to lose to the Grand Princess. That being said, isn't there news that the Grand Princess already has a baby? She is already about to become a royal family. It really worries me. It has been more than 10 years since they married. It's not like that, Your Highness the Queen. The Grand Prince has a consort and 3 concubines, and has not had any children until the age of 35. Not having an heir is a mortal weakness for the princess. Thank you for your concern. I didn't think a loving heart could be so kind. Too much praise, Your Highness. She is so kind, for love. It's strange, why are there such rumors? Biana receives the news calmly. I'm curious, what rumors? Isn't it said that Yinai is embracing a man in the street, will soon become the crown prince's consort? How can something so absurd be said? The rumors of Tang, I am really worried about what others think. It seems that the rumors started the day she met Avon. If they reach the ears of the crown prince and his majesty, what will we do if they get angry? No, Queen Ma, you must be careful, and the love of the Empress, through the words of these two people, will soon become a fait accompli. It is no wonder that these are the tactics of an imperial consort. Using rumors is something in which she surpasses anyone. In her past life, Biana was always a victim of this trick. Now, the worst situation is that she herself breaks off the engagement with the crown prince for not being virtuous. That must be the imperial consort's goal, right? For him, although annulling the engagement is a bit tempting, if she is considered a woman who does not follow the rules, it will be very difficult to remain in high society. There are already many rumors about illegitimate children hindering him. Rand must inherit the title of Marquis, and he cannot stay home forever either. Even if he goes to the Count's house, he will only be a burden. Only the business association remains. It's not that there's nowhere to go. Even if the engagement is annulled, there's no problem, but there is no reason for him to benefit. That being said, was the Empress also involved in those kinds of scandals? The Crown Prince was born 35 years ago, right? Right at the moment she left her fiancé to enter the palace. At that time, had the Emperor also become angry with you? Shortly after receiving the title of Imperial Consort, she became pregnant to protect the Imperial bloodline. The priests tolerated it. They said the Grand Prince looked very much like the Emperor. Although the rumors were appeased, suspicions could not be completely eliminated. It has been 35 years. You never thought there would be someone who knew, right? Come on, let's see how you are going to deal with this. A royal kiss with the fiancé in a game of lies. But the girl not only did not resist, but blushing, threw herself into his arms. But the next second, her small hand clung to the soft flesh of his waist. A sweet reproach. This made the prince blush even more, and his heart beat strongly. Right now, Beyoncé is going all out and gave the Grand Duchess a good blow, breaking the house. How daring. He laughs out loud. If in the future she becomes queen, as the head of the harem, she should control those below. Isn't more courage needed for this? In the imperial palace, one doesn't even know one's own identity. There are many who want to rise. The Grand Consort does not warn that excessiveness is not courage, but recklessness. Biana does not reject it all based on anyone's performance. Recklessness can sometimes become a skill. What skill? The queen trapped in the middle doesn't know what to do, so she quickly changes the subject. The coming-of-age ceremony is approaching, right? I am curious to know how you have prepared it. Your Highness the Queen is so worried. I don't know what to do. What have you prepared? It is a coming-of-age ceremony that everyone will celebrate. You only live once. Besides, the coming-of-age ceremony for love is even more special. No one knows that he didn't hold his coming-of-age ceremony. Was it intentional? Oh, I forgot. No one has prepared a coming-of-age ceremony for love, right? What are we going to do? Do you want to hear him say there will be no coming-of-age ceremony? Originally, I thought so, but the Grand Princess is now constantly provoking. His thinking has changed, because there is no noble lady who can lead Byangna to her coming-of-age ceremony. So the Grand Princess suggested that he could take that place. What do you think, love? This matter will soon spread in society. No one dares to stand up to the Empress. He doubted whether he should ask Anazga for help. Perhaps they will criticize him. He was about to answer. Suddenly a hand rested on his shoulder. Thank you for the suggestion, Empress. However, my grandmother has already decided to step in as the hostess. With that said, he took Beyonce's hand tenderly. I miss you so much, my brother. King Anna rose incredulously. Forgive my boldness, your royal highness. I have heard that my fiancé is here. I cannot act as if it doesn't matter. Wang Fei plays the prince, heir who defies the empire. How imposing. Take care. Shuri's momentum does not diminish, but increases in this age full of vitality. Facing his fiancé, who will soon have her coming-of-age ceremony, how can one not be excited? The crown prince, who has the support of the royal family, looks at him disdainfully. And then, he hugs his fiancé tightly. Beyonce not only did not resist, but also cooperated by intertwining her hands with a sweetness that melted the heart. Why are you so late? I have been anxiously waiting for your highness. The crown prince stood up immediately. I didn't expect to find you here. And then, leaning down, he gave her a kiss. If you had come directly to the palace, you wouldn't have had to wait like this. Biana's eyes widened. The royal consort next to him thought she wouldn't dare to ride a horse. Her Highness, the Queen, called me here. With that said, she threw herself into Shiri's arms, seeking comfort, secretly. But she gave the man a hard pinch on the waist. After succeeding, she showed a satisfied smile. Shirley blushed immediately. Today is the time that His Majesty has set, for the two of us to be alone. It seems Her Highness, the Queen, has forgotten. I am not wrong, am I? The Queen doesn't dare to disobey the order. She had no choice but to yield to his whim. The Empress kept insistently asking, will the Duchess of Garfield become the hostess for Biana's love? The prince replied with a false smile, as if for him, love is for the one who will become his daughter-in-law. The Empress, furious, could not contain her anger. That's great. It will be held at the Marquis's house, right? Royalty cannot attend a coming-of-age ceremony for love. It's a real shame. Don't tell me you don't know. His Majesty has already prepared the coming-of-age ceremony for my fiancé in the Erhalak Hall. The Grand Princess can attend. The Princess Consort is extremely excited. Hearing that drives her crazy. That place is the grandest and most magnificent hall in the palace, only open for national-level events. A mere marquis like him, is he really going to hold a coming-of-age right there? Is this reasonable? Shirley immediately corrected him. Well, that's my fiancé. The future Princess Consort doesn't even know that it will be held without the Empress knowing. That can't be possible, can it, Empress? The Princess Consort, without getting an immediate answer, questioned. It's not like that. The Crown Prince couldn't take it anymore. This is something His Majesty decides. Even the Empress cannot go against it, can she? Your Highness the Empress. The fearful Queen lowered her head and nodded that the Crown Prince was right. Since Her Highness the Queen has given her consent, please do not make any more mistakes in the department. The royal consort finished speaking. He hugged Byangna and, we will take our leave first. After the two left, Biana looked up at Shiri. His expression was not good. He was angry. He hasn't given her time to react. Shiri lifted Biona in a strong princess carry, with a firm gaze as if wanting to join the fray.